Welcome to your source of comic book news and culture. This is Variant Edition, and I'm Mike.
And I'm Nick. And we took a week off last week to recover from the New York Comic Con. Man, what a show. I can't believe we were down in that area when, like, the cops were there and they had everything blocked off. Remember that? That was ridiculous. And believe me, those press passes worked on the police. That was some good stuff.
Oh, you're talking about when it was overpassed. I had no idea you were talking about.
Yeah! Remember we were trying to get
the con or
it's
something.
like, no, the like Venture panel let out, and it was like a bunch of like fat chicks dressed up like Dean Venture, and it was terrible. And then like everybody's trying to go in for the cup of Joe, and then the cops are there, and they're like, yo, what up? And I'm like, yeah, I'm press. It was crazy. But anyway, so... yeah,
we'll see all of that in the con episode.
Well, not that,
next
but
episode
yeah.
about the con. And well, maybe not that, but coming up, we've got a full-length Variant Edition packed to the brim with comic book excitement.
Yep, and as we all know, Iron Man opened huge last week. And to celebrate, we've got a review of the new Invincible Iron Man, a look at 3 more Iron Man busts, and a mini discussion / review of the movie.
We're talking lemon huge. And we managed to throw in a few other reviews too, but why wait? Here's Kevin with a look at the Bowen 3-pack of Iron Man busts.
Alright, I'm back with some more Bowens, and this time I'm taking a look at some Iron Mans. Now, Iron Men, I suppose we should say. Pretty good timing on Bowen's part. This summer there's an Iron Man movie, and just recently he released 2 3-packs. And with Iron Man, he's basically made for multiple busts because he's had, I don't know, 1 million different armors. And Mike took a look at 2. He was supposed to be 3, and I'm looking at the other 3. Now, first up, we have the Silver Sentinel Iron Man, which was from the Armor Wars story. And the cool thing about this is the details on this actually really pick up the art that was in that story. I'm actually really impressed. It really, really evokes the art from that period. This is by the Kuchark brothers. Also, the retro is by the Kuchark brothers. And, of course, the retro is just that classic early Avengers look, and it's really, really nice. And I have to agree with what Mike said. The colors, you know, it's red and gold. It's real simple. But it's really in the detail work that make these pieces. Now, it's the modern Iron Man that is really spectacular. This is by Eric Chan. I've never really seen his name associated with Bowen before. And by the detail work is just amazing on this piece. It's funny because, you know, Adi Granov, when they relaunched Iron Man recently, redesigned the armor, and Marvel really took that opportunity to kind of like take that armor and run with it. And I'm so glad that Bowen did a piece of this. It's just amazing, amazingly detailed piece. I'm going to show the back here. It's just so nice. I mean, the amount of detail and the black lining on all the parts, it's really, really sharp. And it really looks like Granov's artwork. If, you know, you've seen the covers of like the first 6 or 7 Iron Mans, or the Iron Man movie poster, I mean, his artwork is all over the place now. Really, really great stuff. You know, you can't have enough Iron Mans. At this point, I think he's done 8 Iron Man busts, and he has a Hulkbuster one in the wings, and I can't wait to see that. Oh wait, no, he's done 10 because of the class. I mean, you lose track of these things because he's done so many. Great pieces. Definitely pick them up.
Alright guys, so we have the last issue, issue 4 of Ultimate Human. Cary Nord, Warren Ellis, Ultimate Iron Man not really facing off against Hulk, but more like, kind of like a team up. I want to help you, help me, help everyone else, and of course, bad guy involved. So, great last issue. This whole series up until now has been magnificent. Why Warren Ellis? Also why Cary Nord? 2 things that come together, and it's just like, bam, this is a kick-ass comic book, not in reference to any other kick-ass books that are out. Not at all. But the story picks up. They're trapped. The leader wanted to, you know, just kill Tony, kill Bruce, and take their DNA to make himself the Ultimate Human, hence title. And, of course, things go awry. This whole issue is just basically action, Hulk smashing, Ultimate style. It's great. The ending is pretty sick and twisted, and there's a moment in the story where it's just Tony gives Bruce an ultimatum, and it's a really lose-lose situation when you think about it. It's, I can cure you right now. I have no contact with the little nanobites in my body, and I can trigger something in your little body right now that will help you escape, but you can never be the Hulk ever again. You be Bruce Banner, and that's it. Back to being a regular Joe Schmo. Or I can trigger whatever's in your body, make my nanobites do whatever, nanotechnology do whatever, and you'll be the Hulk, but that's really it. You're stuck. There's no curing the process because the Hulk is obviously evolving into this new kind of species where he can adapt to anything. So that's it. So you have to read the issue, see what decision Bruce takes, but we all know what it is. And all in all, just a great story. A lot of repercussions for what's going to come because this makes the Hulk a lot of a darker character now in the Ultimate Universe than he is in the regular Marvel Universe. And Tony, more of a sympathetic character as compared to the drunk he's been in the Ultimates book lately. So all in all, a great read. I can't wait to see more Warren Ellis on any Ultimate book. Let's throw him on the Ultimates. How about that? That'll be a lot of fun. But other than that, great read. Definitely pick up the trade if it ever comes out. If you have all the issues up to now, read them and then read them again and just keep reading them because it's such a great story. Ultimate Human, Warren Ellis, thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm bringing you the review of the 4th and final issue of XXXombies by Crawlspace Comics. And I gotta say, this story ends in a ridiculous way. It just, the entire series, if you haven't been reading it, it's essentially zombies in an outbreak, people are trying to film a porn, zombies get involved, porn and zombies equal good, you read good things, this is what you should read. Story goes on, our characters are still trying to survive in this situation, one character's trying to find his daughter, she's trying to get out, blah blah blah, there's all that. But at the end of this, it kind of doesn't even really matter. I mean, it's all this build up to like, what the hell? But it's really funny, really kitschy, really campy. Once again, great artwork on the inside, beautiful cover by Tony Moore on the outside, and this issue has an ending, if not a twist, that would make M. Night Shyamalan himself blush. So if you guys want zombies and porn, and a final issue to a great comic, and a nice little tease on the back for the next story that Crawlspace has coming out, called Army of Frankenstein, definitely check it out.
I had a chance to read Gemini #1 by Jay Farber and John Somariva. Now, if you're not familiar with Jay Farber, he does quite a few things at Image, including Dynamo 5, Noble Causes. Now, I haven't read Noble Causes. I've read Dynamo 5, which is why I picked this up. And I think after reading this, I might want to go back and read Noble Causes, because Jay Farber definitely has a voice for superheroes that I didn't think he had. But back to Gemini. You know, we've all heard it before. If you like superheroes, there's a couple of cliches in the whole superhero world, right? Guys have powers, usually from some pretty crazy source. They wear, you know, a costume, and they have a secret identity. Well, and sometimes they have a support system behind them, okay? This book has got all of that, except it has a twist in that the superhero and the secret identity don't link up. Like, specifically, the guy, when he's in his normal mode, doesn't know he's the superhero. Sounds kind of weird, but I think if anybody else was doing it, they might not be able to pull this off. From what I've read so far, this first issue, I'm intrigued. The art is fantastic, very open, very, I don't know, animation feel. It's just a lot of dynamics in like all the poses, just a lot of fun, and I think the art really won me over for this book. I can't wait to see where it goes. There's a huge twist at the end of this issue. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next issue, and I'm really looking forward to issue #2.
Alright guys, as many other Americans did this past weekend, we all saw Iron Man. Some of us loved it, some of us adored it, and some of us just thought it was the greatest thing ever. I'm Lewis.
I'm Ed.
I'm Nick.
Well, I'm Mike.
And we're going to talk about the movie. First off, what do we start with? The intro. I think that's probably one of the best quick rundown intros to, like, not even a superhero movie, just to get like a good backstory of who a person is and how they got to that point. Like, what do you think? Like, him just showing it, like, what is it?
When they show the flashback?
When they show the flashback.
Oh, I thought it was perfect to just show how he became who he is as a person and a billionaire, and from his dad, and just how the company worked and everything. I thought it was a great job.
And me as a whole, like, with movies in general, I really liked how they did the intro. It's like, oh, you're here now, but in 5 minutes we're going to take you back to like 36 hours before and then bring your ass back here.
Yeah.
In any film that really works, and especially in this one with like all the things that were happening to the main character, worked out great.
I think it actually shed a lot of light for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people who had no idea who Iron Man was. You know, my boss alone didn't know he was a comic book character. Didn't know.
Oh, he's a plumber.
Guy named Iron Man. I thought he was a steel mill worker. I don't know. I was like, no, there's a guy in a suit, and you just watch the movie. First 10 minutes, all the background origin story you need as far as who is Tony Stark up to this point.
Overall tone for the movie, like opening sequence, like what like the feel that you guys got, like I got like we're in for like a real good kick. We're like a very story driven movie, but at the same time action and just really good dialogue amongst even like, you know, minor characters, like the way he was talking to like the soldiers, to like, you know, his business partner, and to, you know, and to Jim Rhodes.
Well, you were telling me before when we were outside talking, like when you saw this movie, you got the feeling like when people saw the first Superman film for the first time, you're like, that's the effect it had on you.
Yeah.
And I think all the things with like the actors that they chose for these characters, the characters that they use, just everything that they like welded into one little film, it stands up. Like, this is a movie that people are going to be watching 20 years from now because of that. Like, they used good formulas.
Definitely stands up to all the great superhero movies easily. I mean, just the tone of it, like the action was great, the story, it was very good, story driven, and not only that, it was funny.
Yeah,
like, at the right times. It wasn't like cheesy funny, like it was just good funny. Like
it wasn't,
and it was all because of Robert Downey Jr. I mean, without him, the movie would have sucked. Honestly, like he carried that film so well as Iron Man and Tony Stark. That's why I think the movie was awesome.
I mean, Tony Stark. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark is like Mickey Rourke as Marv.
Oh, like, he was
you can't see it any other way.
Yeah, definitely.
One gripe. I had one gripe in the movie for all of 2 minutes. 2-minute gripe. It was in my head and I got over it really quickly. But it was just one little thing. Just one tiny little thing. Jarvis is not a human. He uses a computer. And he runs the house. And at first it was like, oh, there's no old guy? Where's Alfred at? You know, and then I was like, oh, wait. Oh, it's way better. Okay, computer.
It just makes sense with, like, the film and everything.
It's like making Spider-Man's web spy.
It's technology.
It makes a lot more sense, and I enjoyed that spin on it.
Yeah.
And again, new continuity, so hey.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Run with it.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like, all the minor tweaks in this thing, I mean, as we all know, any comic that becomes a movie, it's not going to be exactly like it was, unless Frank Miller has something to do with it. But, I mean, like, as a comic book movie, as like a summer popcorn flick, this thing is like an ace on every single one of those fronts.
Oh, easily. Yeah. It's easily so entertaining. Just the all-around good flick. It was just a fun movie. Just, you know, everything about it. Was
like, I just had, like, this big poop-eating grin on my face the whole night. And, like, it's just, like, the best thing ever. It's just, like, it's just, there's no, you know, there's no really words. You sit through something like that, and it's just like, wow, what was that? Let's do it again. It's like a ride, you know?
Yeah, no, it definitely was, because like, it really sucked you into that, you being the audience. It's like, I want to know where this is going.
Yeah.
Like, he's suiting up, where's he going? I'm going with him.
And the CGI, it was awesome. You could not even tell.
Flawless.
You could not even tell it was CGI. The flying, dude, I just wanted more. I was like, everything about the technology they used in the movie and everything Tony Stark was able to do, I was just like drooling. I'm like, I want that in my room. I want that in my room. I want to do that. I want my own suit. Yeah, it was just awesome. It was a lot of fun. Just even while you're watching it, imagining yourself being able to have this stuff and do this stuff. Yeah. That was what was great about it. It really took your imagination.
And it's not that far-fetched. Like, you think about it, maybe 20, 30 years stretching, we can get some of that going on. I don't know about the hovering, the flight capability, but as far as the computers and like being able to, you know, integrate computers and stuff, it's like, you know, it's just close to the books. Like when Warren Ellis wrote Iron Man, it's just like, wow, this can be pretty close to happening in about 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And that's why great. The realism, you know, people are just like, oh, that's so fantasy. It's like, no, this is pretty close to being real, and I love that, you know.
Yeah, it's like people could like talk about like, oh, they could never do that in that film. It's just like, we have iPhones now. You showed that to someone in the 50s, they'd shit themselves.
Yeah, they wouldn't understand. They just wouldn't
comprehend it. They'd go, what the hell is the internet?
No, they'd shit themselves.
And then they'd shit themselves. and they might burn you for witchcraft.
But yeah, and speaking of your gripe before, this was my only gripe with the film. And it's not really taking anything away from the film, it's just something that I felt could have added to it. The score, I kind of felt was lacking. I mean, you guys...
I agree.
I mean, it's a very minor thing. It filled, like, it didn't take away from the movie, but, like, what happened to, like, the iconic Superman theme, the iconic Batman theme? Superheroes need a theme.
And it was on Tony Stark's ringtone.
But I want something, like, when he's beating up terrorists or whatever, I want, like, Iron Man's theme in the background.
Like, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah!
Iron Man or Iron Maiden.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, having AC/DC in there, and, you know, obviously Black Sabbath was great, you know, for certain scenes to get you pumped, but, like, I agree with Nick. You just need, like, a certain score to have in the background the whole time, you know?
It's like, was Danny Elfman not doing anything? Like,
Spider-Man's over.
Yeah.
And he didn't do the third one.
Or the second one, they just kind of took his score from the first. But anyway, we're going off topic here. So,
but going on into the movie, villain-wise, Obadiah Stane, you got a villain inside. You know, you got your own best friend as your villain, and you got the terrorist cell group. You know, overall, I think it was good because I remember when the movie was first being into production, they're like, "Oh, we're totally gonna go with the whole, you know, post 9/11 Al Qaeda angle." Just like, no, that's just really beaten
and
down.
They really didn't do that.
And they really didn't do that. They went with something a little better, way better, and I just loved it.
They could have called them Al-Qaeda, but they didn't. It was some other group of people. They're doing
10 Rings, which is, of course, a reference to the Mandarin.
Exactly.
Yes, look forward to
Set
that.
up for the future, maybe, possibly. There was a lot of little comic book nuances in this movie that I enjoyed immensely.
Yeah. Well, since Marvel Studios took over and they're doing the movies now, you could definitely see there's a lot of foreshadow to a lot of connections to other comic book heroes.
There's gonna be a lot of
which is great.
Integrating, we can say a lot of integrating.
That's just a hint to you guys. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Stay to the end of the credits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One word, Avengers. One word. Two more words, Nick Fury.
I think there were like snakes in Tony Stark's house or something
at
the end of this movie, but
bad.
Yeah.
How about cinematography of the movie? Just all the shots of this movie.
Yeah, you go into cinematography. I think this is the first time I've ever heard you say that word. You go on to them about cinematography.
From all the desert scenes to like the billionaire Playboy house to like the extravagant events that he attends and to the first donning of the Mach 2 armor. It's just like great iconic moments, and like even when I was sitting in the theater when he put the Mach 2 armor on, people literally started clapping and screaming, "Oh yeah!" And it's just like, when do you ever experience that watching any kind of movie? Forget superhero movies, just any movie, just like, oh my god.
Yeah, a lot of shots that just got you pumped up just looking at him. Like when he's putting there's a shot where he first gets into the suit and everything's like moving around to see if it's in place, and it's doing like a 360 angle, and you're just getting pumped, and with the music in the background, which was actually good at that point, was like all this like heavy metal kind of music, and it was just like, oh shit.
At one point he's listening to Suicidal Tendencies. That was a great. That's great. Working on his car, but I think the dual identity was played out perfectly. There's the drunk billionaire playboy who just loves playing with his toys and just shaking off any kind of meetings and important things he has to do, and then he grows into this mature person that's like, my company, I can do way better for humanity and just the world than just making billion-dollar deals and just getting drunk and sleeping with every TV news reporter.
And I really
below
liked
the age of 30.
I really liked how they made it, like how they made the real world hit Tony Stark.
Oh yeah.
Because before it was just like, I'm a child of fortune. Like I never had a problem my entire life. Silver spoon right in my mouth, firmly there all these years. And now it's like, my life is on the line now. These people want to kill me. This is going on. And then realizing, a lot of the things that he's done while boozing and sleeping around. It's like, oh, there's these backhanded deals going on. I really liked how they did that. I felt
it's kind of like, what he says in the movies. Like, he tells Tony, don't be so naive. And that's when Tony starts figuring, wow, they're dealing under the table. My company's military weapons. And that's when, obviously when he's captured and he comes back, he starts realizing, wow, there's a lot of corruption in the world. This is my fault. I'm going to take care of it. Yeah. That's where you see him, you see his character really grow from there. And I thought that was a really nice touch. He took responsibility. But overall, I would give Iron Man an 8 or 9 out of 10. I thought it was, for a superhero movie, it was straight.
It was a solid film, and if any of you out there are like, oh, it's another Marvel movie, I saw X-Men 3, I saw Spider-Man 3, nothing like it, go see it, you'll love it.
I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10, and on top of that, I'm going to say that Marvel has now set a new bar for all comic book movies to come.
It's an excellent point.
A lot of everything that comes out from this point on is going to have to be measured up against Iron Man, and let's hope The Dark Knight doesn't have to suffer from this.
Yeah. 10 for me, too. Perfect score. The experience, like I said, again, if you see something like that and you want to come back at least more than 2-3 times, you did the formula came together right. You did it right. So, great movie, and God, I can't wait for the next one. Let alone the hint at the end for a big one coming later on.
Yeah. All you Marvel fans out there have got a lot to look forward to in the next couple of years.
And all you non-Marvel fans need to find somebody in the movie theater who knows what the last bit is about, and you have to talk to them for about a half hour afterwards.
Yeah.
So you understand what the hell the Avengers Initiative is. Yeah. Or maybe you can go to your local comic shop and pick up a book.
Start reading.
So, like we've been pounding all throughout this episode, unless you've lived in a cave, you know that Iron Man opened this past weekend and basically dominated the theaters. And it's no surprise that Marvel is putting out a new Iron Man comic this week. Invincible Iron Man #1 by Matt Fraction and Salvador Larroca. Now, I was a little surprised by this. Iron Man right now he's the character that everybody loves to hate. People have strong language usually when they refer to Iron Man because of everything he did with Civil War. And he's running S.H.I.E.L.D., so he kind of has to be a hard ass. This book, I think the goal is to bring some more of the superheroics and the larger-than-life stories back to the Iron Man side of the Marvel Universe. And based on this first issue, it definitely does. I got to give it to Matt Fraction. There's like little bits of big picture kind of stuff going on that you usually see when Warren Ellis writes these kind of things. And that is very high praise. This first issue does a really good job of being a first issue. It gives you the whole rundown on who Iron Man is, who Tony Stark is, what S.H.I.E.L.D. is, what the armor does, catches you up on the Extremis stuff. I mean, it's a really, really good from that standpoint. Introduces a somewhat new bad guy into the mix, but he's not really new because he has a past with Tony Stark, and his dad has a past with Tony Stark. The part I liked about it the most was Tony kind of goes through this thing in his head where he has these things that he fears. One of which is that being Iron Man won't be such a big deal, or it'll be cheap enough that other people could be Iron Man. And this is technology that could do a lot of damage in the wrong hands. And surprisingly enough, something happens in this issue that makes his fears... He wasn't even fearing the right thing, let's just put it this way. Something happens that is so surprisingly bad that Tony Stark has to take action on this, and then when he finds out exactly how it happened, he's horrified. And this is not the Tony Stark we're seeing in the rest of the Marvel Universe. It's really refreshing to see this. This is a great first issue, a great launch. I'm really looking forward to where Matt Fraction is going to be taking this book. And the art, I know the last time I read one by Salvador Larroca was New Universal, and he made his characters look too much like movie stars. He's definitely toned it down a little bit in this and has a real strong sense of composition, and things look very cinematic without looking like movie stars. So definitely an improvement on that. Can't wait for number 2. It's a great time to be an Iron Man fan, let's just say that.
Hey guys, I have another review of another issue that is also the last issue of a story arc. Now this is issue 20 of Fear Agent, but it's also issue 4 of Hatchet Job, and as we all know, Fear Agent's going like 4-issue story arc, one artist, 4-issue story arc, the other artist, blah blah blah. It's really going well, because Fear Agent just rocks the house. If you haven't been reading it, do so. It's 1950s campy science fiction. It's great. It's great. But anyway, Hatchet Job really wraps up nicely here. It brings all your characters, and if you think that Heath Houston hasn't been through enough, he keeps going through more. And if you think that Mara was that, like, kinda hot space chick with the curly sideburns, yeah, well, she really ain't. She's kinda had the worst past out of them all. You know, seeing your parents being, you know, eaten, getting their faces torn off by giant chameleons with jetpacks, ain't really the way to be. Long story short, Mara kind of screws over everybody in the team in order to get the revenge that she's seeking for on this pirate. And as we all know, revenge is a dish best served cold. And what's colder than the middle of space? Nothing. So it goes like that. Revenge don't really turn out so well, and just everybody gets dicked over. Especially Heath, and that whole cold thing in space that I was talking about really applies to the last page of this comic. If you've been reading Hatchet Job, this wrap-up does not disappoint. It only builds to the characters, builds to the drama, and it builds for a nice next story arc.
Alright guys, here's your big first Secret Invasion time review, Mighty Avengers issue 12. We get to finally see where the hell Nick Fury kind of has been, where he saw this for coming, the whole Secret Invasion, and just kind of how he's been planning for it, you know, post and before Secret War. So, I believe this is drawn by Alex Maleev. Great job. No one else better to draw this, because he's got that whole... This is a very dark issue, you know, there's a very dark time in the Marvel Universe, so who better than to draw this book than Alex Maleev, and Bendis, of course, on scripts. Flawless. So here we got Nick Fury. He's in some European country, hanging out, you know, living the life. It's kind of funny, because he actually has his ultimate version as his holographic getup, and then switches back to his normal self, which I thought was kind of funny, because I was like, wait, this is regular Marvel continuity, right? So he's banging this real hot double agent chick. She turns out to be a Skrull. And it's funny because, like, he's got, like, a really good beat on this. He's got some technology ready. He's already got, like, top, probably, like, a wall full of people at the end of the issue of who might be a Skrull, who's already been taken care of, like, replaced, and who might be hit next. So this book was really important because he kind of re-penetrated S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, I feel weird saying that, but he penetrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and kind of gave Maria Hill the heads up as to what was going to happen. So she knew what was going to go on. I guess she didn't really trust him because, you know, of what happened with Secret War. He kind of just left, and basically he left us the tools of what the Marvel Universe needs right now, and Maria Hill's kind of just like letting it sit there, not too sure if this is just a big lie or just like another one of his conspiracy theories. But all in all, a really important issue because this is a great backstory, pretty important element to what's going to happen in the Secret Invasion, and I can't wait to see Nick's like official return into like action. It's going to be really good, and I can't wait.
I don't know what it is about today, but so far all the reviews I've done are the last issue to a story arc. So I'm going to keep it up with Elephantmen War Toys. If you haven't been watching the show, you know that I love the Elephantmen comics more than life itself. I never saw this thing coming, and when it came, it hit me like a mother effing freight train, and I just can't stop reading these books. They are so amazing, so brilliant, and so beautiful. Anyway, War Toys ends. I think this is the best ending to the story arcs that I've been reading so far. I know I've said that probably to the last two, but this one is just great, because it's Elephantmen. So essentially, you have France that's screwed. The Elephantmen are everywhere. Everywhere. It's this big future war. All the artwork on all the pages is done in this great, foggy, gray, very, World War II looking. It is beautifully done. But the thing I love about this issue is that it's finally showing where the Elephantmen get their sense of humanity from. The entire time you're seeing, oh, they were created by Mapo, they were taught by Mapo, they were led by Mapo, they are nothing without Mapo. And that's how it's been. But then in the other issues, it's like, oh, they're trying to be like people, they have likes and dislikes, they have emotions, they have feelings. It's like, where did that one missing link kind of come in between them having emotions and them just being like living weapons? Tells you in issue 3. Beautifully done. It's finally the Elephantmen are up against a threat that they haven't been able to conquer, and it's kind of getting to all of them. It's one person trying to fight off all these people. It's just the one rebel leader who's kicking him in the balls constantly as many times as he can. No remorse, not backing down, just going for it. They took everything away from her. All she has is hate. All she has is the lust to kill these Elephantmen. And the Elephantmen are just like, holy, we've never encountered anything like this outside of Mapo before. And it really, really, really hits home, because it's just, this girl's lost everything. And one of the Elephantmen are talking to her, and it's just like, oh, we've done all these things. We've been taught how to fight before we can even stand. You, in 1 year, have become this force that we still can't stop. Like, how did you do this? It's like, holy shit. Like it says in the comic, Mapo taught them everything, but it didn't teach them courage. I'm getting goosebumps just think about this issue. I'm sorry for being a dork about it, but seriously, Elephantmen War Toys, a great short mini-series, beautifully done. Definitely pick it up. It's 3 issues of awesomeness, and once you're done with that, you'll be like, I want more. Go out and get Wounded Animals. It's great. Elephantmen rule.
Okay, that's it for another episode of Variant Edition.
Yeah, we're probably running long after the Iron Man review, so let's wrap this up quick.
We'll be back later this weekend with our New York Comic Con wrap-up episode, finally. So if you didn't make it, you'll get to see some of what we saw and did at the con.
And then starting next week, we'll be premiering full-length, uncut interviews with the creators that we talked to at the con.
And not only from the New York Comic Con, we'll finally get some of our lost interviews. We should be putting one up a week.
Yep. Okay, but it's time to go. And remember, Classic Comics is your friendly neighborhood comic shop where we shoot every week. Great place. So check out ClassicComics.com for details on how you can save up to 20% on your comics every week.
And check out VariantEdition.com for the links to all of the different ways you can watch us, including Blip TV and our very high-res versions from Views.
Yep. Oh, and if you haven't before, check out our forums. We're going to be using them more and more very, very soon.
I might actually comment on a couple. See you next time. Who loves you, baby?
Kojak.
That wasn't like...